Hello, lads and ladies, and welcome back for another live stream on the channel. It is Wednesday night, Wednesday the 17th of April. Been an eventful night in Scarlet League One across the 16th of April. We had battles at the bottom, we had playoff drama, we had red card galore across the weekend. But again, Tuesday night is where we are at. We're going to discuss it. And eventful for some, Fleetwood, Lincoln, Stevenage today, and this chap's team. Hello, mate. How are you doing?
Tired.
I bet you are.
Ben, I don't know if you've seen, but League One have new winners.
They do, don't they?
The champions are in town. We've done it.
We are the champ. Sorry, you are the champions. Not we. I keep getting that mixed up. You're the champions, man. How does it feel?
Surreal, fantastic, an immense sense of pride. Dan's in the chat with us. He's like me, hasn't stopped smiling since, well, just slightly less than 24 hours. I've now been awake for, we worked it out, about 35 hours. Didn't actually end up sleeping last night. So I'm a little bit jaded and a little bit, what's the word? You know, when you're sleep deprived and things just kind of, I don't know. I'm a bit all over the place, Ben. So I'll apologize from the off that the analysis is not going to be quite as brilliant as it normally is from, well, you might not think it's brilliant from my side, but as brilliant as I like to try and make it to listen to. But we've got you, so that's absolutely fine. Yes, I know. Thank you, Daniel. I don't look my best. And all of a sudden we decided to offer up T-Lop to viewers, didn't we, for people to watch it? I was like, what, do we really need people to watch this week's one? But anyway,
it's a bit like Fleetwood, we can't give it away, so you just give free tickets away and hope for the best.
How are you?
Tired, gutted, devastated.
Bit of a contrast going on, isn't there?
Yeah, you know what's mad, right? Last year we took 2 points off Ipswich, right? Honestly, we took 2 points off Ipswich. There's going to be 3 leagues between us next year, and it's one of those. We'll talk about it in depth, very soon as well. But yesterday was one of the worst I've ever felt leaving a football ground, and saw the result. I'll say my piece on Portsmouth in a bit. But let's get on with it.
It's going to keep you waiting, by the way, at home. You have to wait till the end of the hour.
Yeah. Save the best till last, the creme de la creme. If you could like the stream as well. So, busy hour. Right, in the next hour, we've got to go through some absolute corkers and Bristol Rovers, Cambridge. We've also got Jake on from Chatlock. Where's he from? T-Lop. T-Lop. He's going to discuss Lincoln in 5 or 10 minutes. Have it away at Oxford yesterday. We're going to get him on in the middle, of a rose between two thorns. We're going to have the fantastic Matt Farley on to discuss Steve Evans leaving the football club. It broke today. Breaking news, leaving for Rotherham, who'll be in the third tier next year as well. We'll be discussing Portsmouth promotion and have Derby County all but finished their job of getting promoted back to the third tier after 2 years in the third division, as well as discussing Fleetwood later on. Let's go. Let us know if you can see and hear us in the chat as well. Great win for Bristol.
I can see and hear you, mate. I can see and hear you perfectly.
Perfect. Bristol Rovers won yesterday, 1-0. Chris Martin, 16 goals for the season. I think it's his first in 10. 1-0, back-to-back wins for Bristol Rovers, and slowly climbing up that table back to 14, 57 points. Anyone between, Exeter, Wycombe, Northampton, Wigan are realistically looking for 60 points now. It's a big win for Cambridge. Probably need another point, a bit like Shrewsbury got yesterday.
Yeah, 3 points Cambridge's way would have confirmed League One survival for another campaign, Ben, as we know, and that didn't quite happen. I saw in Matt Taylor's post-match talking about how you just need that one moment of quality when you're pretty on for a clean sheet, and that's exactly what they got. Probably a more difficult evening than it needed to be from a Rovers point of view, but it is back-to-back wins now, which is positive. Gary Monk reckons Cambridge should have had at least a point. I don't know how you feel about that, Ben. Probably want to be debated. His team certainly let the game come to them, invited the pressure, and were happy to sit really, really deep. right within their own territory and kind of invite the game on. And they got punished for it in that one little moment, and that's all it took. And that got Rovers the 3 points.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, 1-0. That's all you need to say, really, on this game. It was a nothing game, wasn't it?
I've been told it's a minute that we talk about it, ladies and gents, by the director.
How a minute? Right. Bottom 4 then, because it is getting dogged down there, isn't it, now? And we'll go Port Vale first. So we play Port Vale. Again, go down early on. Wheeler getting the goal. Port Vale get back into the game. It's Chislett again. He's a star boy for them, isn't he? He scores a lot of goals and, 9 for the season. I think 16 goal contributions. He's got the 7 assists as well. And then, unfortunately, Longwaite goes and gets a late winner for the Chairboys. And again, it's that feeling of regret and feeling of disappointment for the Chairboys that they haven't gone and, for the Chairboys, it's a great feeling for Port Vale against the Chairboys. It's a disappointing evening and one where they're saying there's a missed opportunity. Realistically, they could have got 4 points this week. Those 4 points are to adrift then of Burton, they're above Burton, and then they're only 2 behind Cambridge, and they still got to play Cambridge. So it's very tight down there, and points, matter. But for Wycombe, great run of late. I think that's 6 wins in 9.
I very much think we can. By the way, Carl and Graham wants a little bounce around if you're top of the league. So there you go. Yeah. Credit to Wycombe. They found a way, and they've found a way to win on a number of times this season, Ben. And I know me and you have had plenty of conversations about Wycombe's ability to find ways to win. They've cemented a pretty comfortable League One spot for next season to build on. I actually think Vale were probably unlucky to not be 2 or 3 down inside the opening 10 minutes, if I'm brutally honest with you. Really poor night for them, of course. Bolton away to come on Saturday, Ben, which I would imagine probably puts them out their misery in terms of mathematical consequences. Not quite sure if that's the sort of the spot on numbers. Haven't done the sums. 24 defeats in 44 games is a really damning indictment of a terrible season. Without any strikers, me and you discussed this with Port Vale before, we both have a shared opinion that letting Ellis Harrison leave the football club was a really, really poor decision. And kind of, you literally stood there, you just decide to chop your wrists off and have no hands to do anything with. What we were hoping for Port Vale's sake would be a positive resurgence with the appointment of Darren Moore. Hasn't quite materialised in that way. I think Vale are all but down for me, Ben.
Yeah, agree with that. And talking about fighting spirit, Cheltenham had to go to Burton and realistically get something yesterday to stay alive. And, Burton, if they bettered Fleetwood's result, they would get relegated. Well, they did better Fleetwood's result, but only by 2 goals, really. So Fleetwood hang on for another day, realistically. Matt Taylor back into the side over the last few days. Got 45 minutes against Bristol Rovers and back with a goal. That's 5 in 10 for him. Since being at Cheltenham, I think he scored 3 in his first 3, scored the winner away at Cambridge, scored some vital goals, and that could be big after Seddon opened the scoring. And then Cheltenham find a way late on. Davis, the experienced man at the back, and Colossal at the back, been important for them this season as well. Gets a late goal for them, and they hold on for a victory. But that's another home defeat. I think that's 8 home defeats in a row for Burton. They had 1 shot on target. They really didn't test the goalkeeper enough, especially in that second half. That realistically, when I looked at the stats, they had 1 shot and it wasn't even on target. Cheltenham, only had the 2 shots on target in the second half and won the game. That's the difference. Cheltenham took the chances. They've got some difficult games. They've got Lincoln and they've got Peterborough. I think they've got Stevenage to come. Look, they're probably going to need another 4 points maybe to stay up. If they get that, I think they'll be all right. Big result for the away side for Burton. Really, really tough week. Reading at home and Fleetwood away to come.
Big game. MC Payne. Excuse me. Sorry, it's going to be a common thing. MC Painters makes a really good point. And Paddy Lane had a lot to drink at that bar last night, Ben. A lot more than I did when we were there. I'm exhausted. I don't know how that bloke's still going, but they're made of different stuff up your way, aren't they? Thank you very much to Annie. Very much looking forward to our trip to Ashton Gate. Do like Ashton Gate, Ben. Really like Ashton Gate. Curtis Davis coming in for Cheltenham. And I remember at the time we had a discussion about it. That is exactly the kind of thing that he's been brought into that side to do, isn't it? Is be colossal in big moments, score big goals. You've got two of the star boys for that Cheltenham side at the moment on the score sheet in Taylor and Davis. This was a really, really crunch game at the bottom. We build it as you always like to build them as an El Crapico, and you have done in the past on a number of occasions. It is literally that thing that separates the dividing line from little teaser for what's to come. It's the only thing that separates the dividing line. There are now 2 points between them. Cheltenham have a game more to play than Burton. You mentioned the run is very exciting. Don't look at him, Ben, alone distract you. That is going to be a big game, Burton Fleetwood. Or was it Fleetwood Burton?
It's Fleetwood Burton, and the team that we came up against in Scarlet League One, the team that could send us down. Fleetwood, right. I have no words. Honestly, right, I have no words for this football club anymore. And for a man who speaks a lot of them and sprouts a lot of different opinions, we go, look, 17 seconds is a long time, and it didn't feel like a long time yesterday for the first time ever. It was a great, great start, and Brendan again through the lines into Boston through the middle, and it was a really good strike. And Boston, has done that many times for us, recent months as well. If you'd have told me 3 months ago Boston Lawal would be our best player and our best attacking output, I'd have laughed at you, because this was a player that was awful at centre half. That was a liability waiting to happen. He couldn't defend, and I was thinking, oh my Lord, like, what have we got here? And he, on his debut away at Derby, he lost the ball high up, and you could see he could play out, but defensively he wasn't good enough. He scored 6 goals this season. Our top goal scorer's got 9 in our centre forward in Jaden Stockley. So it was a great start. We get a penalty. Boston wins it again. And his twin Promise, it is the worst penalty ever. And I'm thinking, we don't have a recognised striker.
It's not the worst penalty ever, is it? He could have blazed it over the crossbar.
The second one was worse. The second one was even worse. And it was just awful. It really was. And I was there thinking, that was it. That was the moment. That was the moment that, sends us down. And we keep going. They get a goal. And again, I thought we bullied them in when we wanted to. And Ronnie Edwards looked very ordinary. And, I thought Boston bullied him. I thought Promise bullied him. I thought their best player on the night in that first half had to be Adjiboye on that far side. I thought Mason Clock, although he got an assist, and it was a really good assist, was quiet. And then at 1-1, we get a penalty. And you think, right. And I'm thinking, Danny Mayer. I did think Boston first. I thought, right, Boston will strike the ball. I thought Danny Mayer, experience. I wouldn't have given it Promise again, And I'm thinking, Boston's had, the bravery to step up, and it was an awful penalty. It really was, and it gives them momentum. And Jed Steer, by the way, needs mentioning for saving both penalties. And they go and get a goal 5 minutes later. Archie Collins, I'm a big fan of, from Exeter. He's 24 now. He scored 3 goals this year, twice against us, and was excellent yesterday. We push up, we gamble. He scored 2 late goals through for Johnson Clark-Harris. Johnson Clark-Harris comes off the bench and gets 2 goals and an assist. He scored 9 now this season as well. And, at 29, he's 30 in the summer. He'll get a good move to a League One football club. I've got no doubt about that. But when they're bringing, Critchlow, Noble, Jones, Clark-Harris and Poku off the bench, that is phenomenal. And we're just not good enough. We're just not good enough. And, it hurt yesterday coming out the ground knowing it's basically over. And look, we've had some great moments in this division. I've loved every single moment of it. There's been ups, there's been downs. We beat Sheffield United away. We played some big teams. We played Blackpool as well. There's been some remarkable memories in there. And look, on Saturday, it'll be upsetting. I'll be upset for a few days, for a few weeks. It doesn't feel real at the moment, I'll be honest with you. Feels like, I don't know if you're a bit like that with Pompey Promoted. It kind of feels like, it doesn't feel like it's sunk in yet, what's going to happen. And I don't think it will do until the fixtures come out or the start of the next season starts, and maybe both of us. It's not been good enough all year, and some of those players have let managers down, let the football club down this year. And my main focus point is getting an owner next season and getting to 50 points as soon as we can, and finishing 3rd from bottom and try and stay in the division.
Yeah, the questions about joining us in the Championship, I'm sure we'll go through in the Q&A bit at the end, Graham. Yeah, I'll ask you the same questions. And by the way, you're talking about the late show. That is really, really late show. 95th and 96th minute. I mean, it's one of those bizarre games. You have a goal in the very first minute of the game, one sort of towards the middle-ish part. Well, still early in the first half. Then you got 3 late goals, really, isn't it? So bizarre. I know you don't really care about what time the goals came, Ben. I was going to ask you though, as I asked you on T-Lop earlier on this evening, if say at least one of those penalties goes in, perhaps more the second than the first, could you see Fleetwood going on and winning that game?
The second one, 100, I'm confident because, people will look at a 4-1 game and think we've not played well. I thought we played very well yesterday. And even without the penalties, I thought we created the better of the opportunities. We hit the post. Promise had one that he couldn't quite get his foot on. I think Simmons had one. Boston had a couple of chances. We created a lot of chances. Look, they had the ball. You can play 70 passes all you want, in my opinion. He's getting it in the right areas at times. And Knight and Edwards are going to have the most passes in the division this year. The way they play, the way they get out to the wingers, it's really impressive. It really is. But no, for us, I was disappointed with losing the game. It's been a horrible season this year, and I've done every single game, and I've never really felt like we're going to stay up at any single point. We've been out the bottom 4 for 7 days of a season, and they were the first 7 days of the bloody season after Carlisle away. So, since match week 2, look, I think with the furthest we've been this year is 5 points adrift. We're 6, with 2 games to go. We've got to win both games. Hope Burton lose theirs. Hope Cheltenham lose theirs. And hope Port Vale lose theirs. There's more chance of me going to Maya Jammer's house, I think. So I don't think it's going to happen. Look, it's been a great ride. A big clear out is needed in the summer. I probably only keep 5 players at the football club. And look,
5?
5 players at the football club, yeah. So I'll go through it with you. Lynch, the goalkeepers. You maybe keep one of them for backup, but I don't think first team. Rooney, no. Hennigan, I'll get abused for this. Yes. Weiradu, yes. Won't stay. Holgate, no. Cole Johnson, yes. Samuels, loan. Boston, loan. Campbell, loan. No. Danny Mayer, no. Broom, yes. Dolan, yes. Junior doesn't fit the system. I don't think he'll play. Kilkenny, loan. Simmons, loan. Boys, loan. Stockley, no. Coughlin, yes. Graydon, yes. Promise, yes. Phoenix.
This is a couple more than 5.
I think there's 6 there. I want to work round. There's a lot there that are big money earners, and unfortunately, some aren't good enough. And look, you can't win 8 games all season and expect to stay. You can't go not scoring 7 games. You can't not get 3 points from 39 available. Appointing Lee Johns was an absolute nightmare. It didn't fit the football club. And look, we move on from it. If you could like the stream, if you haven't already, that would be massively appreciated. And also subscribe. We're just 53 subscribers away from 14,000 subscribers. If you could subscribe down below, that'd be appreciated. Right, playoff time.
Does that mean? God.
Yeah, his team are chasing a playoff spot. It's time to get their team are about to finish 6th into the playoffs. Let's welcome Seasiders Podcast. Hello.
Hello, beautiful chaps. How are we?
How does it feel to be a rose between 2 thorns?
It literally is, isn't it? I feel very honoured to be here. I
like your jumper.
Thanks. I got it bought by
I know we've had this conversation already tonight.
Sick. See, he always has a go at me because I don't put my hand in my pocket a bit. I'm a bit like, I don't know. Whose owners are tight? Burnley's old owners. Yeah.
Careful.
Burnley's old owners. They weren't a fan of them, were they? So, Jake, you won 1-0 yesterday. Talk us through it. What happened? Feels weird you being a special guest.
We won a must win. What happened? Well, we went for it. We went for the win and we got the win. And I didn't think Oxford were scintillating. That they didn't cut through us like they did in October, and
didn't blow you away.
I'm not going to possibly say anything like that. I wouldn't want to get into a fiasco on Twitter with Oxford fans, but No, I thought we were good. I thought we had chances that probably had more chances than Oxford did. And yeah, it was a penalty that decided it. I think it's a penalty. I'm not sure what all the fuss is about it not being one, but look, we had to win the game, and we did ultimately, and it keeps us alive. It keeps us kicking going into Saturday at the races. So yeah, no, it was a great evening, Ben. I very much enjoyed it with our Queen of T-Lop, nonetheless.
So when you went 1-0 up, it was a
Yeah.
penalty.
Yes.
Was it a penalty kick in your eyes? Because he's come from behind him. He's had to go through the man, but he's got the ball, but gone through the man first before you give me that look.
So it's fouled the man to get the ball. Yeah, no.
But he's got the ball in the end. Look, the ball was about to be put into the back of the goal. Realistically, unless you promise him a charity these days.
Look
he
at
can't do
the
them,
Joe
can he?
Taylor. So
Yeah.
he knows what the net is.
And then the penalty gets given,
Yeah.
slotted away nicely by Danny Mandroy, who's had critiques this season and maybe potentially, looking to move on at the end of the season, Jake. And 8 goals this season, 5 assists. It's not been a bad return, not been maybe to his normal standards, but you've had other players to do that yourself. And in the end, scored it and got the win.
Yeah, and that away end, as you boys will know, maybe Tom more than you, Ben. When you take 1,000 plus to Oxford, it gets pretty good in that away end. It's a pretty decent one to be in, and yesterday was no different. There was some good scenes in that away end once the penalty had gone in. But yeah, no, like you say, Danny Mandroy. I think I foolishly did a tweet at the start of the season saying that Danny Mandroy was going to win the League One Player of the Year. It's not quite worked out the way that we wanted, but yeah, no, it was good, Ben. It was good. It was good scenes, good limbs, and we spent it with Sue, which was even better.
Yeah. When you went 1-0 up, did you think Tuesday night, under lights, you've had special nights like this, not just under Scubala, but under previous managers and this football club as well? 1-0 up, this suits us now. We've got a goal. We've got a good defence. Our goalkeeper's got the most clean sheets in the league. He's 1 away from 20, which will be a good landmark if you can hit that against Cheltenham or Portsmouth, or potentially even in the playoffs if you get 2 extra or 3 extra opportunities to do so. Do you always feel at 1-0, look, in the back of your mind, you've got Oxford scoring in the back of your mind, you're always thinking the worst, but do you always feel comfortable and believe we're going to win this 1-0?
Yeah, I think I think that this current Lincoln team, and I said it many a time last year, when we go up, we genuinely don't drop points. We don't go on to lose games, apart from to Portsmouth, obviously, in September. But you look at the record of Lincoln going in front, we don't tend to drop a lot of points. And once we went down to 10 men, it just brought them even closer. And this group have conceded 37 goals, Ben, in the season so far. That's a fantastic record to have played 44, and that's what less than a goal a game. I think it's 0.8 goals a game. Yeah, I know. And Oxford didn't cut us apart. They had a lot of good players on the pitch. Murphy's been fantastic in their big wins recently. Mark Harris has got on the score sheet. I think he scored maybe 6 or 7 in the last month or so. And they didn't threaten us, but I trusted Lincoln to keep the clean sheet, and I trusted our defenders to do the job, and ultimately they did. And we could have had another one on the counter. Joe Taylor hit the side netting as well, which was a shame we didn't go in and make it a bit more comfortable. But when they brought Brannigan, and I said to you boys on T-Lop earlier, when they brought it just went forward a bit quicker. It just got a bit quick, in terms of the quality of the ball, just zipped in a bit faster. It was moved forward a lot quicker, and But to be fair to Jensen, he wasn't phased. He did really well. Came and got some crosses at key times. And hey, look, he might have 5 more clean sheets to get if things all go the way that we want.
I had a little think about what we were talking about on the podcast earlier on with regards to the penalty, which from a neutral point of view, and Wardy, mate, no, he won't be joining us, will he? Because he's out on the lash. Of course he is. I don't even want to think about drinking another drop. Not that I had absolutely loads and loads and loads, by the way, but I just don't want to go anywhere near alcohol until Saturday, of course, and then we'll be back on it once YouTube videos have been sorted. The penalty is a penalty in my view. We were talking about the yellow card, the red card situation. wouldn't be a red card in the box due to Dogso because of the double jeopardy laws that we have, which I didn't mention on the podcast, but had a little think about away from what we were talking about. I think if he gives that, I think he maybe has to give me yellow, Jakey. I don't know what your thought is.
Well, yeah, we were thinking it. Well, we're obviously because we're football fans and we're very reactionary. We were thinking, he's got to send him off because he was denying a clear goal scoring opportunity. I think when you're in the stands and something happens against your team, perhaps you're a little bit more reactionary and you want things to go the way of your team. So we were thinking he's got to send him off. But I agree. I think the ref should have yellow carded him. I think the ref was very card friendly. I think. Is it Lee Swaby, the referee? He's very card friendly. He gave 8 to Lincoln, and I think Oxford got themselves 4. He'd given I think he did a couple of games early in the season where he gave 10 and 11 out. So we knew he was going to be card friendly. But he once he got the first one wrong, it just sort of capitulated. But I was surprised Ruben didn't get a yellow card in that moment, and I think he probably should have done, given the fact that Ben House is about to put the ball in the net, or if not, it's going to fall to Joe Taylor, who 9 times out of 10 puts the ball in from where he was.
Can I just ask, lastly, and I've done this, it feels weird you being a special guest, by the way.
This is a short shift, isn't it?
It is
I'll do this every week.
Yeah, exactly. Well, please, if anyone wants to come on next. Matt MS, how do you fancy, mate? How you fix up?
That League 2 podcast.
You've been trying to ring me, mate, and my phone's not been, my phone's been on Do Not Disturb, believe it or not. It will be on Saturday. That's all I can say. I didn't go on Twitter last night, believe me. I thought, dark place, that, not a chance. Look, Oxford United, how many points do they get from their last 2 games?
I think they'll get 4.
How many do you think Blackpool will get?
2.
Are Blackpool really involved in this?
I said all
could be out of it by Saturday.
Blackpool are in it, and I've always thought since I looked at the fixtures and they had Cambridge at home, Fleetwood at home, Carlisle away. I thought 9 points realistically. They've got 9. Barnsley at home, Bloomfield Road will be, the atmosphere will be good. I imagine as well, especially behind the goal as well. And if they get the first goal, Barnsley will crumble because then you think Barnsley, they have won 1 in 7, I think, or 2 in 10. Not been on a great run. Before this run, they won three in a row. I think Blackpool are in it if they win Saturday because then all of a sudden they're only, I think, 2 behind Barnsley. And Barnsley have to win on the last day of the season. Well, how many do you think Lincoln and Barnsley and Blackpool will get?
God. I can see Blackpool getting 4 from there.
Yeah.
From there, I think they'll slip up away at Reading. It's a tough place to go, Reading.
It is, but Blackpool are doing the job, and Blackpool are like Lincoln. Blackpool are playing great football.
Blackpool are like Lincoln. They'll draw 1-1 away at Reading.
Yeah, but they are the type of team that can keep a lot of clean sheets and have the quality at the other end in a Dembele.
Yeah. No, Grimshaw's kept 18, I think.
He's a great keeper.
He's a
very
great
keeper.
Barnsley have got Blackpool and Northampton at home, right? I can see them getting 3 points. And realistically,
3?
I think they beat Northampton and lose to Blackpool.
Okay.
Is that okay?
I just thought that Barnsley looked like a much better side than you boys are letting on last night.
Out of all the teams I've seen, Barnsley, I'd probably go Barnsley 5th. Oxford are the best team I've seen this year in League One. In my 2 times I've watched them. And I watched them against Barnsley, actually, where they lost 1-0. And they were all right. And I watched them against Portsmouth. And I've seen a lot of Oxford this year. And I've been impressed most of the time I've watched them. I just think Oxford will get 6th. I think Oxford will get 6th because I think Lincoln, in a world where I think I'm more worried for the Cheltenham away game than I am for the Portsmouth home game. I think Wigan will beat Portsmouth on the weekend. That I predicted on T-Lock before the weekend. I think that you could see a world where Accrington go and beat Mansfield, where all these teams that have gone up, you're not telling me that some of the players are still drinking now.
They're at our awards night tonight.
Yeah, exactly.
They're relentless.
It is. So, do you think you get playoffs then?
You put me under the microscope here, aren't you? Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do think we get playoffs. I think Stevenage will do us a favour tomorrow night. Not tomorrow night, Friday night. And I think we will get maximum points from our last 2 games.
Of course.
And I will say one thing as well. If Blackpool do get into the playoffs,
They'll win them.
Blackpool win the playoffs because they just win playoffs. That's what they do.
Yeah.
And defences win titles, and maybe Lincoln can, win one themselves. Jake, all the best, mate, and I'll see you some point next season.
Cheers, lads. I'm off to watch the Champions League. Take care.
Love you, Jakey.
Thanks
Bye-bye.
very much.
Lots of love.
Thank God I've got you, mate, for the rest of this show. Come on
Don't
now.
say that.
So, right, before we go, we're going to stay in with the promotion race, right? They're still in it, they're like Fleetwood. They've got the littlest of faintest of chances. Not helped today. Breaking news in Sky Bet League One. Steve Evans left Stevenage. What was your initial reaction of that, Tom?
Have I read it right? Was
Yeah.
the initial reaction? I was like, what's he doing? Because for me, other than your obvious, maybe Paul Warren's a bad example, but you John Messinos of this world where there's been a real connect between fan bases and supporters, Steve Evans would be a name that I put right up there in terms of how good the relationship was with the fans, in terms of seeing a fist pump video every other weekend and all that kind of thing. And then all of a sudden you get this news, and I don't know, we're going to hear in a minute whether it's a sucker punch blow and what it means for the rest of the season. Did you just put something in the chat that you didn't?
I have. I've just replied to someone. I didn't want to overrun you. So.
Oh, well, that's very kind of you. Yes, no, I was shocked. I don't quite know why he's done it. We'll ask Matt in a minute. I would assume there's geographical reasons that come into play there in terms of locality. But I'm sure we'll find out shortly.
Absolutely. Right. Let's bring him in, the royalty. And I said to him, I'll see you soon. Thinking, Stevenage playoffs potentially. Well, I've seen him 2 weeks before. Get ready to see the most, something. I've only ever seen him happy, so I don't know how he's going to be today. How are we, mate?
You know me. I'm always going to be happy, buddy. How are you?
I'm very good. So, okay. Someone that you know, Steve Evans, was only on your podcast, a couple of weeks ago as well. Has this feeling been there for a while? Rotherham sniffed after him in December, January time. Liam Richardson had obviously had 10 points from 23 games, relieved of his duties today with Rob Kelly, his assistant manager. And then this news comes out. What was your initial thoughts when the notification pops up on your phone?
Oh, mate, shocked to be honest with you, because none of us kind of saw it coming. I think it's quite interesting actually when Steve joined the club. 2 years ago when we were in a really bad position, I think we all kind of gathered that he wasn't going to be at the club for a long time. But then I kind of fast forward to now, and kind of seems like he's gone too early, almost like a season too early. I think we thought he was just going to give it one more crack to see how we got on next season, and then if he'd have gone next season, I think we all would have gone, there you go. But just shocking really. It was quite funny because we were hearing rumours this morning from some of the Rotherham chaps, and I received a tweet from some of the Rotherham chaps going, "Oh, we're hearing that Steve Evans has signed." So it's really funny. I remember having it in our WhatsApp chat with the boys, and we were all going, "Nah, it's not happening. Of course, it's not happening." I was at work, 1:45. Phone started going mental in my pocket. Looked at my watch, saw all these messages come in. One of them said, "I can't believe it's happened." A client messaged me and went, "Can't believe the big man's gone." Starting to think, what? Quickly ran in, checked the phone. He's gone. I was like, no, not that. But no, look, if I'm honest, obviously it's shocking news just because we didn't think it was going to happen this season. I somewhat oddly understand it deep down, and I'll get into that a little later, I'm sure. But just gutted. Although we've got a new kind of fresh start coming up, a new era, and a massive season next season. Yeah, it's been a bit of a strange day for Stevenage supporters.
Yeah. He turned you around. He kept you in League Two, and then won promotion. I think you actually made a profit, didn't you, last season as well? One of the only teams. It was a very small profit, but to even remain sustainable. And then you kind of look, everyone will, yourselves, it's unbelievable that Stevenage Football Club are in League One. And I'm the same with Fleetwood. And you kind of forget what players you've got on the pitch. You just think, right, club size, we shouldn't be in this division. It's a good League One squad, that. And it should be, in my eyes, probably between the region of 10th to 15th, and you've overachieved, obviously. But the likes of Dan Butler's, Carl Pidriani's, Big Goal Reedy, to your Thompsons, it's a really good squad. It really is, and he built that. Does it feel a bit gutting that he's betrayed you, or are you looking what he's done for us as a football club and respected highly in the fan base, or does it feel, no, I'm not quite happy that you've done this with 2 games to go this season, and maybe if he went in a week and a half time, it might have been a little bit better?
Good question. I'll answer it really shortly. I think, number one, he's a club legend. So we said this, after the massive turnaround that we've had and, all that we've achieved, staying up when it looked all but gone, and then incredibly getting promoted last season, which was unreal. The best 2 years I've ever had as a Stevenage Football Club supporter. We'll always remember the promotion last season, the memories and the cup run we went on and beat Villa, and then coming up to League One, and it's like, we're brand new to the league and having the season we've had, which has been incredible. The guy's the club legend, and we all said prior to this season, actually, when it came to it, when Steve would move on and retire, because we all knew it would happen, that he would be a club legend for what he's done for our club and the trajectory change. He's a legend, regardless of if he's gone. Obviously, deep down, I would have loved to have kept him and for him to have stayed, but he's a legend. And secondly, to go along with that as well, what I think's quite interesting is, and we were having a chat about this actually on our podcast earlier when we recorded, is I'm actually happy he's gone when he has, because if it had stayed and we wouldn't have done as well next season and then would have gone, I almost feel like it would have kind of not tarnished his legacy, but a lot of people would have remembered him for that period rather than all the good stuff. And what I will say is, him going now, he can't tarnish that. He's had this incredible 2 years, and we will only remember him for that time that he had. Kept us up, promotion, League One playoffs. And your second bit about the timing, etc. Do you know what? I actually think it's good timing, oddly. Yeah. I think, look, we're safe. We're at 67 points. We're in the top 10. We're there, right? We're there next season. Unbelievable League One it looks next season. We're there. He could have stayed for another 2 weeks, but it would have just delayed the process of us finding someone new, interviewing people, trying to get a plan together. It would have just delayed it. So actually, do you know what? If he was going to go, I'm happy he's gone. It leaves us with 2 games. It means that the process can start now. We've got a longer time to recruit someone, to get, you never know, a new squad in, because I'm assuming some of these players are going to go to Steve, where Steve's at Rotherham. Players like Cole Pidgiani or Jamie Reid, that I wouldn't be surprised if they went with him at Rotherham, sorry. So actually, I think it's a good thing that he's gone now. Also, to go along with him leaving, deep down, I somewhat understand it in a sense of, he's been with Rotherham before and he's had great success. They're getting relegated. I'm assuming that they're going to have a very good budget next season. And maybe Steve sees an opportunity with Rotherham to go up to the Championship, maybe rather than us next season, with it being a more difficult division. So I understand it from that standpoint. But I think for us, it's, and oddly, I might just be coming out with this because I'm Mr. Positive, etc. with the club. But I'm really excited for a new era. I think the last couple of months, although Steve has done unbelievable for us, there hasn't been issues, but there's been warning signs that the form is starting to fizzle out a little bit. And, I agree with you, Tom. I remember you making a great point. I love the big man. I love Steve. But there are interviews when we haven't played well, and it's the referee, the liner, and you're sitting there and you're going, Steve, we haven't played well, mate. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, Exeter a couple of weeks ago lost 1-0. The referee, and we thought, oh, come on, Steve. Do you know what I mean? And maybe it was getting to a point under Steve Evans where we've had all this success, but like he's done in his career with other sides, it's just been starting to slowly fizzle out. And you know what? We don't know where that would have ended. So I'm excited for the new era, brand new, fresh start, new manager, new squad, new playing style in a league next season. I'm really passionate for, and I can't wait. So it's a gutting time, but an exciting time as well.
Matt, could I ask if you were slightly closer to a bankable 6th place finish in League One this season, do you think that would have tempted him to go to Rotherham had the call come? Or if you were maybe looking at a more, not guaranteed playoff spot, because we know a playoff spot's never guaranteed, but you know what I mean? If you were slightly closer than you are at this moment in time, do you think he would have gone?
No, I don't think he would have gone if we were close. I think if we would have beaten Burton Saturday, he'd still be here. Because I think with us being in touching distance of the playoffs, I think he probably would have seen it out. I think when we lost to Burton and obviously Rotherham had their kind of situation pan out, it's probably perfect timing for him knowing that we're not going to make it. So no, I think with Steve, I think if we'd have probably beaten Burton and been right in that mix, I think he probably would have stayed to the end of the season. I wouldn't have been surprised as well if it would have been one of these things where if we would have beaten Burton and been in the pack, could have said to Rotherham, look, I'll give it a couple of weeks, see where we are in the playoffs. If not, and then I'll come sign. I think it would have been a delayed process, but I think he would have stayed with us to the end. Yeah.
Last question as well. Obviously, the first couple of hours is getting over it, and then you kind of think, right, who's next? Obviously, you've got Vale, you've got players in the building that you could go for. Do you think you'll go new and completely go for a young manager? I think, we strongly mentioned Tom Cleverley at Watford. You've got the likes of, potentially like a Wayne Rooney, like a big name, like Fleetwood with a Scott Brown. And when we did Joey Barton, you don't want to go there, believe me. Or do you think you'll go experience again, like someone maybe the club knows, like a Dino Manria? I know, obviously, his football isn't great, but he's a bit like Steve Evans. He gets results. He can improve teams and, good to the area. Even a Gareth Ainsworth, I think, he's been out the game for a lengthy period, I think 7 or 8 months now. I think he'd be a great appointment. Maybe a Mark Bonner as well that was at Cambridge, which is not too far away either. So do you think maybe someone like that? I think you need someone that knows the division because, from Fleetwood point of view, when we've been at the top with Uwe Rosler, we've lost key players like a David Ball, like a Conor McLaughlin, like a Ben Davis. And then we've lost our manager and we've plummeted to the bottom of the table. So I think that next appointment, in my opinion, has to be experience.
Really good point and really good question. So it's going to come down to two things. It's either whether we want a League One level manager who's experienced the level. And I think I was having a look at some of the available candidates when you go through it and you go Gareth Ainsworth, Michael Duff, you got experienced League One managers who have done very good jobs in the division, or do you go through the younger management route and younger coach route? And it's a very interesting debate. Me personally, I think for our scenario, an experienced League One manager would probably be a safer bet. And that's the route I would go down. I think it's difficult to say who's exactly perfect for it. But again, your Ainsworth, your Duffs, they're really credible managers that I think could do a really good job, just depending on wages, whether we'd be able to match wages for those type of managers. All that I know, though, is that, and might be a little bit of an exclusive for the CODS vlogs, that I'd say this one. I don't know exactly who, but I'm hearing rumours that we've already got interviews lined up for next week. So I don't know who they are, but I know that we've got people lined up coming to the club next week. So it's going to be interesting over the next couple of weeks to see kind of who comes in the limelight. Again, for me, an experienced League One manager would be great. Really good identity, really good style, and then he's got the summer with a little bit of money to go out and spend on a squad. But that would certainly be the avenue I'd go down.
Matt, thank you very much, mate. And just for lastly, where can they go and find your podcast?
Yes, for all the listeners at TSFC Podcast, the Stevenage Football Club podcast, one of the most positive platforms, guys. Literally, even when we play bad, we spin it on a positive. But go and follow us on that. And really quickly, I did just want to say to both of you, Tom, I watch your stuff every week, mate, on YouTube. I love it. I watch every single week. Love it all, mate.
Thanks, mate.
And massive congratulations. I've been rooting for you guys to get promoted. And Nappers, stop missing these penalties.
I know.
God's sake!
Don't
bury him.
I know, mate.
Do you know what's really funny?
Big Joel Reedy when you need him?
Well, he's
gone missing, hasn't he?
Mate, I was watching your vlog at work today. I had half an hour off after crying over Big Steve, and I watched your video. I didn't realise you missed 2 penalties at Peterborough.
So basically what you're saying is you were crying, so you thought, right, who can I go and watch that will cry and cry with me virtually? And you thought, Nappers. Yeah.
Matt, no, you know what I did? I cried for about 10 minutes and then I was like, right, I need to pick me up. Let's go and watch Tom's video for a good 20 minutes. Just, start feeling good about the day again. Watch that and I was like, right, let's go and have another cry. So let's get back onto Nappers' channel and just watch a bit of 10-minute content of that. But no, boys, love what you do. And Tom, over the moon for your Nappers. Good luck, mate. I'm really rooting for you to start.
Cheers, Matt.
Thank you very much, mate. See you soon.
See you later, chaps.
Right. Sorry, go on.
No, I've realised that people are kind of cottoned on to the fact that I'm now hour 35 without bed. But I believe, Ben, it might be time to chat champions.
Bolton, quick.
Oh, we go. Oh, of
We've
course
got
we're talking
Bolton.
about Bolton.
Cameron Jerome did score his first goal of the season yesterday. Shrewsbury took the lead twice in the game. Udo, again, since the new manager came in, he's been back in the side, back scoring goals. He scored 8 goals for the season now. Again, Bolton responding through Cameron Jerome. I swear Jordan Shipley only ever scores screamers. He'll never score a tap in that boy. He's a player that I like a lot. 6 goals, 6 assists, and I think he's one of the better ones in the division for Coventry. He's a stalwart. And they kept them out for a long period of time. Bolton had a lot of the ball, 70% of the ball, expected goals of 2.28, 13 shots on target to Shrewsbury's 3. They absolutely battered them in that sense, but that's what you need when you go to Bolton. Great point for Shrewsbury overall. For Bolton, they're now 3 points off Derby. Derby have got a 5 better goal difference if Derby win on Saturday and Bolton drop points, or if Derby basically, it's in their hands basically. They literally need another 4 points, don't they, realistically? We've got Carlisle and Cambridge. What do you think of it quickly? Then we'll get on to the champions.
Yeah, well, I'm shocked that Bolton have dropped points at home to Shrewsbury, Ben, because I was told for large parts of last week that they're the best team that League One's ever seen. And for multiple reasons, they're far better than us and therefore far more deserving.
Can I just say they are the views of Thornhill written all over it, not those of Cod's vlogs?
I'm only messing. Yeah, no, the game that for as long as Pompey were losing and drawing, we all had a half an eye on, and from not watching the game, of course, we were all thinking around us in our seats that given Bolton got themselves back into it, they go on and score the winner. It's kind of what you'd expect, isn't it? But that never came, and credit to Shrewsbury for remaining resolute. And there was a massive moment, wasn't there? I don't know if you've seen it at the, I always say points on the board over games in hand. I've been saying it all season. I didn't cry, Joey. No, I did have a little moment. But I didn't cry. And Sue did.
Thanks, Sue. Thanks.
I think Sue's, crying for different reasons.
I'll be crying on Saturday, believe me. Oh my, I am dreading Twitter after the game. Oh.
Anyway, yeah. Bolton didn't win, but they're still the best team in the world, so no worries at all.
Champions. Tom, I must admit, yesterday I was absolutely checking my phone every 5 minutes, making sure your game was our game was on my screen as well. And you went behind, you come back, went behind, you come back, and Bolton were dropping points as well. And I thought, right, I don't want Portsmouth to win the league or win promotion in the sense of Bolton dropping points, because that's all that will ever get thrown back at you. You worked for the last 43 games. All people remember is, Shrewsbury did you a favour. No. Story of your season, corner kick, late on, threatening end where the ball gets sucked in, and Connor Shopnessy with a header. It's a really good header, and been a big player for you this year, big coup. And I watch your video, Tom, every week, and my first thought was, the Sams, the Evies, the Dans, the people that come on, the Pepes, everyone that comes on, week in, week out, and give the thoughts, and every single one of them who come on your channel are good, good people, and Portsmouth fans are good people. It's a club that hit rock bottom and kept plummeting even further from that, and went through the absolute worst of a football supporter can get. And nights like yesterday, nights like Wembley beating Sunderland, on the penalty kicks at Wembley, after 7 tedious years in League One, after relegation to League Two, makes it all the better and all the sweeter. And I just thought, for the people like Sam's and Evie's yesterday, who every week are so positive about their football club, can go and tell their friends, can go and look, my football club did this yesterday. And, I was really happy because you're one of the nicest guys out there. And I thought I was really buzzing for you that you won promotion. And Portsmouth were a special football club. And I'm glad you didn't win promotion on Saturday. I said that I wanted you to do it at Fratton Park under the lights Tuesday night. I thought that sum you up more. And, I had a good chat with Reece after the game. Really happy for you, mate. You deserve it. And champions, ole, ole.
The feeling's very mutual about you saying Pompey fans are good people. Every Fleetwood fan I've ever met's a good person, Ben, and to you and your mum and Tone and everyone who we met that day. Even your support liaison guy who followed me into the toilet was great. So yeah, no, we feel exactly the same about you guys. Obviously, it's impalpable, it's intangible, indescribable joy that we're all feeling, and we're still all feeling. We're not going to go there, are we? Rebecca's lovely. Let's put it that way. And I saw her twice that night as well. That's something you didn't see in the video. Is we bumped into each other walking out of Fratton Park, and then I saw a little bit later on Palmerston Road, which was good fun. So we enjoyed our night for definite. Yeah, it's just been the most amazing. 24 hours almost now. It's doesn't quite feel real yet. As I said at the top of the show, it's certainly going to take a little bit of getting used to. Just the planning for championship grounds next season, the trips we can do. I think it's even sweeter. It's been 12 long years, Ben, and you made the point really well then. I'm not going to repeat exactly what you said. And we should also say that how Pompey is that game to win it, by the way. That's literally, and I think I mentioned it in the bit on the way home. On the way home, didn't go home. Losing my mind. We're on the way back. Oh, you've got a donation, Ben. Up the tits.
Oh, here we are. Congrats, Pompey. Fully deserved, Ben. Hope you bounce back and we see more League One content. Don't you worry, League One content will resume. Don't you worry. It's a bit like Shrewsbury. It just never seems to go anywhere. It always stays in League One and can't broaden its horizons. It's had a couple of years maybe with, flirting with top of divisions. Thank you so much for the donation and up the bloody Wigan. Come on now.
Wigan have scored.
I said they would. Come on now. No, it was an emotional night at Fratton, wasn't it? And it was
kind of shot to see Ben doing what he's done all season.
Late goals, Wycombe at home. There's others as well, and as well like the players that have been injured all season as well. Regan Pools, Alex Robertson going to support the boys at Bolton. For him as well, and the likes of Colby, Marlon Park, and there's been so many players. You've probably had 15, 20 injuries to different players at different points of the season. And what I like about it, he's been a different player shining every week. Your Kamaras, I think Norris made a really good save at some points at some crucial games this season as well. And
last night.
I think there was one where you won. I think it was a Tuesday night game. I think you won 2-1. I can't remember who you were playing, but he made a really big one at 2-1. And you might even go and win it 3-1, and he makes a save at 2-1. And it's big moments. You are good in big moments. My team aren't. That is the difference between winning and losing in League One. DePaul will sometimes get the rub of the green. You get it when you're at top of the table. You don't get it when you're at the bottom. But good sides find a way. You are a good side. And all season long, you've not looked back. You had a great run to start off with. You bounced back from the Blackpool defeat. You had a bad run around Christmas where you lost 2-5. And you've been unbelievable ever since. And it's a good football club, good people around it. And Ward used a triangle, and I thought it was a great example. I won't spoil it. Go over to his channel and go and watch that. And look, it's a special football club with good people around it. And, it feels very Ipswich and Plymouth based last year, where this squad will use that going forward. You don't need to add 10 players next season. Look, you probably need to replace the lone players and probably have 3 or 4 players, maybe add 6 or 7. But that squad is good enough. That squad has got the togetherness. And if you've got togetherness in football, if you are fighting for each other and you've got a bit of quality, and you've got the fan base that you've got, you will do absolutely all right next season. And you're lucky. I'm gutted in a way that you're leaving us, but look, it gives others an opportunity to shine in League One, and it was probably Pompey's time. I've been to Fratton Park 6 or 7 times, and look, I'll be honest with you. I think at the start of the season, my first tee lot, I kind of criticised Fratton Park a little bit. I kind of went. And I didn't mean to. I basically said Fratton Park in the last 18 months hasn't been good enough. It hasn't been as loud. It hasn't. But the players have given them nothing. The players haven't given them that spark. What they need is to play front foot football. They need to get on it. And if they win games of football, if they just go on a little 3 or 4 game winning run, you've got them, and then they're hooked again. And Portsmouth fans are mental about the football. I've never known anyone like it. And Fratton Park this year, in my opinion, has probably got you another 12 or 13 points, and they are the definition of 12th man.
Yep. Said that in the video that, and the players will be the first to tell us, and they have been lucky enough to have conversations with some of them in the past, and they've said it numerous times that extra 5-10% that it gives you really does spur you on, and it means those misplaced passes, Ben, and those those little moments that either the 50-50s, the second balls when they drop, etc. The sort of things that don't go for a team low on confidence. If you've got the crowd behind you, you've got the confidence. I think those little bits, isn't it? The extra fives, and it's actually a discussion I had with a certain Pompey captain, which I don't want to spoil too much of, but it's those little extra bits and the little things build up massively. Hello to the legend Sean Meads as well, joining in the chat. And we should say, Ben, who would have thought when Messino was appointed as Pompey manager that we'd be having a discussion, as the legend rightly says, about losing him to potential suitors?
And for me, if I'm honest with you, the only I can't.
He's
see
not
him
going
leaving.
anywhere, by the way.
He's not going to go anywhere. Portsmouth are a massive football club. He's got a family who live in Portsmouth. And I kind of think Portsmouth need to be patient with John Messino. One thing I will say is they're not going to have it all their own way next season. They're going to have to go through difficult periods where they might lose
games.
They might lose 3 or 4 on the spin, and he's not used to losing. Even when he came in January, you weren't winning many. Like, I think you drew a lot. Charlton can take this for example. You beat Accrington, I think you beat Wycombe. I think you beat Forest Green. I think you only won 3 out of your last 8, but you were unbeaten going in. You might lose 3 or 4 in a row. You might go and not score for 3 or 4 games. You might go and have 30% possession. And he's finding a new way to win. And it's all about how he adapts. And I kind of think he deserves time, but he will grow into that role.
Yeah, and what a first role in football management that is, by the way. I mean, full credit to Richard Hughes and Andy Cullen for taking the risk, for making the punt, for doing what I described at the time as a very 50-50 thing. And I have bookmarked the tweet that I sent out about it. I wasn't, and I was in, as a lot of Pompey fans were at the time, the camp of, who's this guy? What are they doing? What's the rationale behind it? What's the thought process? And actually, he said in his post-match comments to Max last night that on his first game in charge, and we discussed this on T-Lop earlier on his first game in charge, there was a banner flying over the top of Fratton Park attached to a plane that said, "Eisner's no ambition, no plan." And John Messino turned around and said, well, I knew when I took that job that what was written on that banner was completely false, and that the Eisners did have an ambition and they did have a plan. And actually, Ben, it proves that the recruitment that was done over the summer wasn't a falsehood. It proves that the January editions of not the promise, because I don't think ever make promises in football as a manager, but the aim and the ambition to get promoted was what sold it to so many of those players. That's why Cassini Engi, Christian Sadie, Will Norris, Regan Paul, Terry Devlin, the names go on and on, Connor Shocknessy, these people wanted to join our football club because they knew that the premise was that we were going to go up and get promoted.
Yeah.
And it's happened.
Yeah. It is unbelievable. And
I genuinely can't believe it.
It's for me, what I like about it as well. And I said it on T-Lop, and there was stick about Pompey's recruitment because they weren't signing fancy players. And I always said, let Charlton sign fancy players, which they did. Alfie May, Shoot Kamara, those types of players. Even in January they did as well. Connor Coventry's to add to it as well. Taylor Dunes, were joined in the squad, this season as well. But what they did, I looked at it and I went, they've gone and signed League One players. They haven't gone and done what Wrexham have done or Fleetwood have been guilty of in trying to buy has-been players that are good at League One level that can do the job like Salford have potentially done. What you've done, you've gone and got a good target age that have played 150 games in League One, that are a good age, that can go for 2 or 3 years, maybe not reach the highs of the Championship where you want to go long-term, because long-term you want to potentially get back into the Premier League. And that will sound crazy right now, but believe me, this football club is an ambitious football club, and you don't want to settle for the Championship. You're Portsmouth Football Club, and I've always said that. I went, why Portsmouth Football Club looking at other teams? Look at yourself. If you do your job and you keep winning games, you've got a good enough squad, good enough manager, good enough fans, you'll win the league, and you have done. But one thing you sign like Connor Shaughnessy, who'd been at Burton, good player. I think Will Norwich was the best signing of the lot, because I thought they've got an experienced goalkeeper there. They've not got a loanee. They've got an experienced goalkeeper that knows this division. Look, he had a couple of bad games at Peterborough last year, but Peterborough are a very open side and play basketball, football. Colby Bishop stayed at the football club. Joe Morrell at the football club. Conor Olgalvi, again, hasn't lost a game in over 400 days for Portsmouth.
Still.
He is a say again. Still, yeah. He is a 7 out of 10 every week. Sean Raggett stayed at the football club. Joe Rafferty's played over 350 times for Rochdale and Preston. And you go for, then what you've got alongside it is young players. Abu Kamara, Paddy Lane, Yengi, who I think has been outstanding when he stepped up this year and when needed, as that second striker. And it's phenomenal. It really is, that squad. And look, you added in January. You got McIntyre and got injured. Lang came in. I think he
I had a funny conversation with Tom McIntyre last night, by the way.
Oh, did you?
We're on a staircase. And he obviously it's fucking packed full of people. Sorry. Obviously it's packed full of people. And he just went, yeah, League One winners medal, having played 55 minutes of the season. Get in. I should also say a massive welcome to Mr. Andy Swatton to the stream, who I'm surprised, Ben, isn't in a tuxedo at the end of season awards night tonight. But Sunday evenings are pushed. T-Lock, we can't miss out on at all. Dan makes a very good point as well, Ben. I think it's really important to mention is that the whole management team thing and how crucial that is. Zesh Raymond goes under the radar. He's fantastic. John Harley, he was taking over the press duties at Wycombe away, and I thought he did exemplary well. He's got a really great team. Joe Perdomo is one of the, I think, personally, secrets to our success in terms of set pieces and how well they've gone for us this season. A set piece goal, Ben, won us League One last night.
Absolutely. And set pieces, I always say this is the last I'll say on Portsmouth. If you do the basics well.
Is that it? Is that all we've got on Portsmouth?
Oh, we could do longer if you want. I just thought you need Benny buys. For me, if you do the basics in League One, right? If you can score from corners, if you can head the ball out from corners, you've got defenders that can head it and kick it as far away from your goal. You've got midfielders that can pass forward and play forwards. I'm a big fan of midfielders getting the ball, playing forwards, running forward. You've got that. You've got wingers that can get on the heels, get crossed into the box. Old-fashioned, right? But it gets it. You don't need to be. Portsmouth have been great. You don't need to be great in League One to win football matches. You've just got to do the right things at the right time. Fleetwood do a lot of the wrong things at the wrong time and the right things at the wrong time, and it's a muddle, and it really is. It's difficult. It's easy to do. It's difficult to get right. That's what I'd say. It's if you get to the point where you're doing it, it's easy. It's that process, and it takes a long time. So that is why, in my opinion, obviously we're going to do a video on it in depth, that is, in my opinion,
look forward to that.
That is, in my opinion, why you have won this league over a Derby County, over a Bolton, and it's been ridiculous. It really has, and I don't think I've ever questioned Portsmouth at any stage of the season. Really,
they've never given us any reason to, have they?
And that's what people always thought, because of what happened under Jacket, what happened under Cal. I went, new squad, new manager. I know it's in the history of the football club to potentially, not get the job done. But this team are different. And I always say, this manager's different. He'll be at the training ground, long hours. Kieran McKenna's very much the same. These young managers, they've got points to prove. And I honestly reckon this, Massino seems to me to be this type of guy, right? He'll have tonight, he'll have today. He'll be back on the training ground first thing tomorrow. And he'll be like, we've got Wigan in 2 days. You've got 2 games, enjoy it. But I want 100 points. I don't want to be known as that team. Notion. And then
he'll stay professional right to the very end. He will. I would anticipate there'll be maybe a few choice words said to some certain individuals when they get back in for training, whenever that may be.
Hello, Patrick.
Welcome back.
Is that a Jaeger bomb in your water, Patrick?
But that's another just a final point as well, because I know we don't all need our sleep, but some of us do very much on here. I think, yeah. So both your host and your co-host both need to go to bed, viewers. So we won't stick around with you too much longer, but we will finish this brief conversation on Messino and say that he's come directly from playing football, Ben, don't forget. So knows what it's like to be a player in the immediate past. But also something that he's done all season is not talk down the big occasions. And I think that's a real quality of his that maybe goes a little bit under the radar. He has been absolutely fine with going, like last night, for example, or Derby at Fratton Park, or when Bolton came to town back in December when we beat him 2-0 that night, by the way, just in case anyone had forgotten that. I know beating the best team in League One 2-0 at Fratton Park is quite some achievement. But he never overstated the occasion. He never understated it. He let the occasion look after itself. I think it was actually a point that either you or Jack made on T-Lop earlier on tonight, was that, you know, he has immense trust in his group of players. He has the trust twinned with the fan base that together the players and the fans will get the job done. His input, albeit massive in terms of training during the week, etc., his input is actually very marginal. He's got to get what he does put in right, but he doesn't actually need to put too much in because by and large it takes care of itself, such as the occasions, etc. And that's been a real secret to us this season. And it's not like I'm not revealing our deepest, darkest secrets here, because it's done and it's finished, and maybe the tact will change and the plan will change next season. But that's very much what I've taken from John Messino's Portsmouth this season. I'm delighted for him. I'm buzzing for the players. I'm so happy for the fans of the hours of blood, sweat, cash, tears, everything spent. It's all worth it after a moment like that last night.
Absolutely. We'll come to the League One table very quickly as well. Tom, again, cracking video yesterday. Where can they go and find it?
Yes, head on over to...
I've only just noticed what you've got in you, but I've only just noticed that. Do I have to have an R in mine on Sunday?
Just put open brackets L2, close brackets.
Yeah.
Don't do that. I'll take it off for next time. Yeah, head on over to Forno, written all over it. It's, well, not as... I mean, it's ridiculous, and I'm so grateful, but I'm... not shocked that the video is performing really well. I'm very humbled by the amount of support that we've had on there. It's probably one of the fastest growing ones of all time, Ben. So really happy with that. Come on over, drop a subscribe, and also should say, if you are still with us and you haven't subscribed to Ben's channel yet, he is very shortly
48.
arriving at 14,000 subscribers.
Yeah, thank you very much, Tom. 48 away. If you could like as well, that'd be massively appreciated. And I'd love to hit 14K. 14K would be a bit of an SHIT sandwich. That's what I've been learning at uni. A bit of good news, right? 14,000 subscribers, relegation. And then we've got more content out next week to keep going towards 15,000 subscribers. So there we are. League One table, we'll start off with the bottom half. Carlisle United already gone. 30 points. At least you got to the 30s. Fleetwood Town could be relegated if they fail to win on Saturday, but would need Cheltenham to lose, and Burton to lose as well. I think Port Vale could still win the game. Burton have got Reading at home, and Cheltenham have got Lincoln at home. I'm relying on him. I'm relying on that imbecile from Lincoln to win. And by that, I mean Jake. Cambridge United should be safe, realistically, and will be safe after the weekend as well. Shrewsbury through to Northampton, Leighton Orient, Stevenage, all in League One next season, Tom.
Yeah, and that's maybe not quite a great thing from a League One point of view to have so many teams kind of safe and middling it with 2, in some cases 3 games still to play. But I suppose it's the nature of the beast, isn't it? When you've got a number of clubs who, in some cases, they have overachieved this season. Some fan bases will be absolutely delighted with a mid-table finish this season, depending on which other club you support. And some fan bases will be a little bit gutted. I feel like, given where Charlton were at times this season, in the perilous pockets they found themselves in, they'll be really happy to be where they are. I think Bristol Rovers fans will feel that they've slightly underachieved. Exeter fans are probably feeling that's just about right. Reading, Ben, I think massive credit for the job that's been done
Ruben
there.
Sellers.
We've spoken about that on a number of occasions. And then towards the top, you look at Leyton Orient, you're looking at Northampton, you're looking at who's the third one? And obviously Stevenage as well. Of course, we heard from Matt earlier on. They're 3 clubs that have done really well this season. And that's not me belittling them or doing whatever. I'm just saying that that's a really, really strong finish. And for them to have for Stevenage to have a single digit finish in League One this season, it's quite a remarkable achievement.
Blackpool would have to win the remaining of their 2 games and hope Oxford lose at least one, but Blackpool have some goal difference to make up as well. So those 1-0 victories might not be enough because Oxford would have to probably have a bit of a 2 or a 3-0 defeat in there as well. That goal difference, I always say every season, is massive, as Lincoln have found out recently as well. Lincoln go to Cheltenham and host the champions Portsmouth on the final day of the season. Lincoln fans will only be going to watch the champions, some may say. A sold-out Sinsel bang. Oxford in those playoffs. Barnsley in them for now. Can they get over that line, Tom? Peterborough and Bolton have confirmed playoff spots. Bolton may still have an eye on top 2, but Ian Evatt even said yesterday it's the playoffs for them, and it's going to be one of, realistically, Barnsley, Oxford, Lincoln or Blackpool in the playoffs for them.
I'm so excited to introduce us as League One champions on 4-0 written all over it in the next instalment. That's going to be absolutely fantastic. Yeah, we always love the playoffs, don't we, Ben? I hate to be boring. I've got a feeling, and I know that this completely dispels the good work and the win from Lincoln last night. However, I would not be surprised if the top 6 finishes exactly how it is for the remainder of this season. Interestingly, that Ian Evatt's conceding on them finishing the playoffs, and that's genuinely not me taking a cheap shot at Bolton. But I would say with 2 games to go and the opportunity for Derby to still drop points, although it's not looking likely, I wouldn't really be calling it until it's not happened. We had a discussion about Barnsley earlier on in the show tonight, didn't we? And how actually that, you know, I was really impressed with them. I thought at times they were miles the better side than us at Fratton Park this season. Excuse me. We've seen, you could probably count on your left or right hand independently the number of teams that have come to Fratton Park and look like a better side than Barnsley this season. I wouldn't like to think that there are more than 5 that I could reel off to you to say that they played really well or matched what Barnsley did. But then, of course, I suppose losing the nerve and the character to throw it away as they did. So Barnsley will be an interesting beast in the playoffs. I've got a feeling Oxford are going to. I know that might have knocked a bit of wind from their sails with the defeat to the Imps. However, they're off the back of 4-0s. And we always say, don't we, Ben, it's the team that carries the most momentum into the playoffs that ends up getting in there and sneaking in that last spot.
Normally, I'd ask you, do you think you're going to do it? Do you think you're going to get promoted?
Ben, we've done it.
Have you? Well, some could say. I will let you into a little secret, right? And
I'll go
I'll
on.
let Tom know this before as well. And I put a tweet out. I didn't tweet about Fleetwood for about 15 hours, and I won't be tweeting on Saturday. I think I'll be staying off social media for 3 months. See you next season at Barrow away on opening day soon. So I put a tweet out about Portsmouth. That was drafted to go out on Saturday. If the promotion party would have happened when I thought it was going to happen, and I could have come down to Bolton and could have come and met you, I thought. So I just had it in the drafts ready to go because I was so confident it was going to be done. And I believe my little mate, Little Reese, had a little chat with my good mate Josh Earl as well. So
Yes.
all well that ends well. Tom, thank you so much, mate, and been a good one, hasn't it? I bet you've had a last 27 hours you've had.
It's not been too bad, Ben. They actually don't get much better. I'm grateful to have shared it with my dad, with some of my closest friends that I love going to the football with. I wouldn't have it any other way. Had a little look round at Dan and John, who were tearing up over my right shoulder when we knew we were doing it, and John could barely look at me, and it was just such an amazing moment. And to share the pitch with Owen, Hayward, Dad, Reece, Barn, Dill, all the rest of the people that came up and said hello to us last night, of course. yeah, it was a really special moment. And I will say, Ben, just as one final thing, you're not the only one that's had a few tweets drafted for quite some time. There have been a few waiting, and I've dusted the cobwebs off them, and they've been going out over the last 24, 48 hours. Thank you so much for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure.
No worries, man. And thank you for all your hard work this season as well. And I hope you have enjoyed it. Please remember to like and subscribe. Go and subscribe to Thomas as well. 17,000 subscribers. Are we on the march to now? Is it?
We are heading that way, yes.
Yeah, I think you're going to fly through that in the Championship while I'm going to Harrogate and you're going to Southampton, eh? No, I'm looking forward to next season as well. Tom, thanks very much, mate. I hope you have enjoyed the show. Please remember to like and subscribe. Until next time, I will see you later. I will see you Saturday as we go to the capital for Leyton Orient. But a new members video drops tomorrow. Something a little bit different. See you tomorrow.
Champions, ole, ole, ole.
League 2 again, League 2 again, League 2 again. We've been to Burnley, Portsmouth, Sheffield away. Now we're going to Grimsby, Grimsby away, Grimsby away.